I thought you'd been transferred, mate.
I'm back now.
You met PC with
A great film from the Moviedrome collection, now on BBC Two. Moody, menacing and steamy performances. Mark Cousin introduces The Killers.
The film we're about to see is addictive. The character names Packy, Blinky, Dum Dum the Swede, and especially Ava Gardner's Kitty Collins are repeated like in a nightmare. Like the film The Usual Suspects, the twist in the end means that you want to re-watch to see where everybody misled each other and you. The heady atmosphere of desire, despite just a single kiss, adds to the allure. And the film feels further in a loop if you watch its remake, which was done 18 years later, which starred Lee Marvin and was Ronald Reagan's last picture. As you rewatch The Killers, you begin to notice the layers of cross and double cross, of desire and fear. Look how often Burt Lancaster, whose first film this was, who Norman Mailer said had the most chilling eyes he'd ever seen, is lying in the dark. Robert Siodmak, who with Fritz Lang was one of the two greatest so-called film noir directors, creates this beautiful, hopeless core to his film, a supine hero resigned to his death, hidden in the shadows. The effect was influential and is so etched in film history that you can't watch Brando in the dark in Apocalypse Now or De Niro in prison in Raging Bull without thinking of Burt Lancaster here. You also notice, as you rewatch this picture, how the insurance man who investigates Lancaster's death, played by Edmund O'Brien, becomes Lancaster in a way. He carries the silk handkerchief, which symbolises Lancaster's sexual love for Ava Gardner.
Mind if I keep this? Keep it, sure. Thanks again.
He visits the dark room where Lancaster died. He inherits his rare decency. The shock of the work of Sigmund Freud hit Hollywood in the 40s and can be seen in films like this. The first few scenes are based on a Hemingway short story from 1927. Anthony Weiler is credited as screenwriter and got an Oscar nomination, but he says that John Huston wrote most of it. The film was produced and the actors cast by Mark Hellinger, a famous journalist and columnist. Hellinger, like Sam Fuller, brought much-needed journalistic bite to his films, especially those he made as independent producer, of which this was the first. The visual style of these film noirs, what the Killers cinematographer Woody Bredel called the sharp contrast between crystal white and velvet black, has been much talked about. Many were made by directors such as Siodmak, who were often Jewish emigres from Nazi Germany and who brought with them that country's dark shadows. At the time, the technical film magazine American Cinematographer interviewed some of these main film noir cameramen. They described how they used far fewer lights, how they underexposed film stock, so the excessively shadow style spread quickly. What often isn't mentioned is that wartime rationing set a limit of just $5,000 on new materials for set construction. So sets were less well decorated and cameramen disguised the fact with shadows. Go on all night about this picture. It's haunted by the past with endless flashbacks and sexy talk about the old Kitty Collins.
After you're through with her, I'd like to have a word or two with Kitty myself.
It was the Studio Universal's second biggest hit of the year, but because film noirs were often glorified B-movies, it made most of its money in what were called grindhouses, small movie theatres in big cities which would attract people passing through. Imagine that, late night somewhere in Chicago, maybe you're just back from war, you saw some terrible things, and then this movie comes on with its fear of the past, its melancholic beauty, shattered like a mirror, drenched with desire.
The Moviedrome next Sunday is from director Jonathan Demme and focuses on the harsh realities of life in a women's prison. Caged Heat is at 11:50.
Have you ever fancied working in a fairground, Jeremy? No, not really.
We wanted someone tough.
Let's get shot at in here.
We needed someone strong.
You need to prove to us that you are old enough to be on the street, otherwise you're going to be taken into police protection right now.
Jeremy tackles more of the toughest jobs in Britain. Thursday at 8 on BBC One.
The Movie World collection continues now on BBC Two with a nocturnal zip through the nether regions of Hong Kong, an acquired taste of the 4-star rating for Wong Kar-wai's Fallen Angels.